Right now, SAG-AFTRA and WGA are on strike, and this strike is so that they can have better pay and benefits and more stability in the job market in the future. By sheer coincidence, one of you recommended in the comments that I talk about this movie, and well, it's the most famous strike movie of all time. Hello all you beautiful people, I'm Mizzz Sally Pryde. It's with 3 Z's and a Y, because why not? And in this video we're going to be talking about Last Exit to Brooklyne. So as I just stated, someone in the comments 2 months ago asked if I could review this movie, and I put it on the list. And the reason they asked me to watch this is because there's trans representation in this film, or at least queer representation in this film. I'll get to that. Not to mention, the title of this film was the inspiration for Last Exit to Springfield, one of the most beloved episodes of The Simpsons. And it's a coincidence that SAG-AFTRA and WGA are currently on strike due to the fact that this film is about going on strike. And I stand in full solidarity and support with SAG-AFTRA and WGA. And if you want to see me going into more detail about that, I have a video already about that. I'm going to have to put a content warning on this video because we're going to be talking about some serious stuff, including violence against women, violence against queer people, and sexual assault. So the film takes place in Brooklyne, 1952. This is a very big cast of characters in this film, so I think it's best to break down the characters by gender, as that sort of paints a clear picture here. So the characters can be broken down into 2 categories: the men and the women and queer characters. The men are on strike at the steelworking factory to get better pay. And they've been on strike for a while now, and they deal with stuff like scabs. And to be honest, I don't have much to say about the strike. It's not that it's a bad depiction of a strike, I just think it's not that relevant to what I want to discuss here, which is gender. So the women and queer characters in this film work, and they have the same type of job. They're escorts. I think sex work and prostitution should be illegal. I'm anti-pimping, but I'm pro-sex workers. You have my support, and your work should be legalized and appreciated. This film takes place shortly after World War II, and it's historically notable because women have been working for the previous decade as part of the war effort. This is basic US History 101. You know, Rosie the Riveter. So the women, with the exception of Donna, who's pregnant, is an escort, much like the queer characters in this film. The most notable one is Georgetta. They never explicitly say Georgetta is a trans woman, or non-binary for that matter, but Georgetta is explicitly queer. If you had to ask me, I think Georgetta is probably non-binary. And the reason I say that is because, while Georgetta goes by he, him pronouns, like many non-binary people can do, they do not strictly adhere to male or female gender roles, and I think that's the key distinction. Georgetta is not trying to project themselves as a woman, or not necessarily trying to project themselves as a man. And I know gender presentation is different than gender identity, but Georgetta falls into a more androgynous presentation. Given that the men in this film are on strike, they feel like they've lost a sense of purpose. And unfortunately, that leads to violence. Now, I'm not saying all men resort to violence when they don't have a purpose. What I'm saying is that for a lot of men, this can be the case. These men feel like they're losing a purpose. They're just drinking all day, and they're hiring escorts, and there might even be a sense of entitlement. Like, they're entitled to money, and they're upset that these women and queer people are making more money than them. Throughout this film, the women and queer characters are sexually harassed, sexually assaulted, and physically assaulted. At one point in the film, Georgetta is beaten by several men, and no one comes to help them. And it wasn't until Georgetta's already been beat up that they finally say, we're going to help you get to your brother's house, you know, instead of a hospital. And Georgetta is saying, please, do not take me to my brother's house, because Georgetta's brother is not supportive. Georgetta's brother is very homophobic and transphobic. When Georgetta gets there, Georgetta is forcibly de-pantsed by their brother to reveal panties, and this makes Georgetta's brother furious. In addition to having various silk and frilly objects throughout their place, and Georgetta's brother threatens to kill them. Halfway through the film, Georgetta is killed by a speeding motorist. Now, I don't think it was an intentional killing here. The reason I say that is because it seems like in this scene, the driver just was not paying attention. But it's still unfortunate that we have a bury your gaze going on here in this film. But when you pull out and see the story as a whole, it's a much broader theme here. The cis women in this film are also under attack, whether it's by their husbands or by the world at large. I'm your character Trala, who I'm dressed up as. What do you think? Trala, by the end of the film, is beaten and it takes a while before one man comes to help. Women and queer people throughout this film get hurt and no one comes to help them. Or they come to help too late. I think it's important to note here that when she's and beaten up, that they take her money as well. The reason I want to point that out is this film talks a lot about the workforce and gender inequality. The women and queer people in this film who are marginalized have to take jobs doing other stuff instead of working in a factory that makes the big money there. Women and the queer people in this film are both marginalized and yet have the same type of work. Sex work is often not portrayed in a very friendly light, plus it's also a matter of sex work and the barrier to entry. There's a limited barrier to entry to sex work. Compared to other jobs, there's less onboard training, and you work for yourself for the most part. But when Trala is they also take her money, and that says that the work she put in, the labor she did, is not worth as much as the men. And by the end of the film, the men get to resume their lives as factory workers and are able to continue doing so. And I think that says a lot about gender and labor rights in the society, that women and marginalized identities are at risk. In this patriarchal system, men have the freedom to be serial sexual assaulters and beat people up. Me Too movement exists for a reason. For the most part, men are more likely to get away with doing this than women or other people. In this patriarchal and capitalist system, men are worth more because they're paid more. And the money, as shown throughout this film, that women and queer people earn isn't respected. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a like, subscribe, and you can even support me on my Patreon, patreon.com/Sally Pryde Drag, where you can watch this video uncensored for as little as $3 a month, get early access to my videos, and you can even get your name in the credits of these videos at the right tier. And of course, thank you to my current patrons on Patreon. You mean a lot to me. And if you got an idea for something else I should talk about here, let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much. Goodbye.